Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the world's most exciting classroom. My name is Joe Grabowski, and I'll be your host for today. I can't believe we are already on our 7th live episode. So this doesn't count our intro from Plymouth before we set sail, but it has been really busy. The Oosterschelde has been making amazing progress as it sails across the Atlantic Ocean. We know we left Plymouth in the UK, spent some time in Tenerife in the Canary Islands before heading to Cape Verde. And then from there, it was the Atlantic crossing. So now the Oosterschelde is in Fernando de Noronha, and the Darwin leaders are going very, very busily right now. We actually have 5 new Darwin leaders on the ship, and they're working on a variety of conservation projects right now. There's nurse and lemon shark conservation, there's octopus conservation, coral reef conservation, impact on seabirds and sea turtles by invasive species, as well as spinner dolphin conservation. So I always like to share a few of the newest images that we do have coming in. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly here, and let's take a look at some of the new images. So this is great. We have here some spinner dolphins greeting the Oosterschelde as it was making its way to Fernando. So I love this picture here of those spinner dolphins playing in the bow waves, obviously having just a great time. And then, of course, some beautiful shots here of the Oosterschelde as it makes its way to the island. So there's a nice distance one. Looks like it was maybe taken from the side of a cliff. And then here we go. You can see Fernando there in the background. And you can see the ship looking nice and beautiful with the Brazilian flag up there as well. So just a few more shots of the ship here. All right, a little look at the island. And then, of course, our Darwin leaders got right on shore and got right to work. So you can see it looks like maybe it's low tide here, and they're making their way along some of the rocks. And then it looks like some of them are lucky enough to be getting into the water and doing a little bit of snorkeling, probably the lemon and nurse shark project that we do have going on. So let's come back from that screen share there. And so today's event, we've got our live experiment. We've got the curiosity of the week. We're going to meet a sea turtle conservationist and look at a workup that they did recently. It's going to be a lot of fun. Before we jump right into that, though, I do want to share some of our Darwin leaders' work. So on Cape Verde, we had a great project going on looking at the seabirds and what was happening there. So I want to share one of the films that has just been finished and completed and uploaded by one of our Darwin leaders. And then we'll get right into the heart of today's world's most exciting classroom. So bear with me for a moment while I load up the video file. And let's take a look at this called Bird Haven.
Cape Verde. It may be famous in the minds of tourists for its white beaches and blue seas. However, Cape Verde has a wild side that often goes unnoticed. Its deserted volcanic islands contain a surprising variety of life. Consider Razo, a volcanic islet which forms a nature reserve together with Santa Lucia and Remco. With its 5 square kilometers of rocks and grass, it's a windy and hostile environment. However, it provides a home for many bird species, such as the endemic Razo lark. The island is also home for 7 seabird species, the highest number in the country. We're on Razo with Isabel Fortes, working for Biosfera as coordinator of the Birds program.
Porque aqui nós podemos encontrar várias espécies de aves marinhas, não só aves marinhas, mas também aqui podemos encontrar a espécie que até 2018 era endêmico do Ilhéu Raso, que é a caliandra, raso largo, mas nós reintroduzimos em Santa Luzia desde 2018, então agora podemos encontrar nos 2 sítios.
Razo is also special for our captain and founder of Biosfera, José Melo.
Para mim, o Ilhéu Raso, aliás, não o Ilhéu Raso, mas Santa Luzia, Ilhéu Branco e Ilhéu Raso, para mim, são quase como um deus. Como disse há pouco, pretendo me reformar.
Our story is about the brown booby, a widely distributed seabird. Boobies are real seabirds, spending most of their lives at sea. They hunt for fish by performing spectacular dives from 15 meters high. On the cliffs of Razo, 2 breeding colonies exist. These seabirds play a vital role in the marine ecosystem, as they are at the top of the food chain. As top predators, they help regulate the population of their prey. Though Razo is home to many seabirds today, historical records tell us that today's population is only a shadow of what used to live here. This recent decline is mainly due to human predators.
Por exemplo, a cagarra, antigamente ela era capturada por vários pescadores que vinham de outras ilhas vizinhas, como por exemplo Santo Antão ou São Vicente, que eles apanhavam principalmente as crias para fins alimentares, comiam as cagarras.
Killing birds was common practice until very recently.
Sou cofundador da biosfera e estamos nessa luta há 17 anos. Quase como uma brincadeira, fazer uma pequena exposição mostrando problemas ambientais em Cabo Verde. Começamos encontrando problemas que não nos despertava atenção. Apanha de areia, comer a carne da tartaruga, o peixe apanhado em espécie, em grande quantidade, pequenos peixes apanhados sem controle de quantidade, lixo dos oceanos. Então aquilo nos acordou que tínhamos muito mais problemas ambientais em Cabo Verde do que aquilo que nós pensávamos ter. A partir daí resolvemos criar a biosfera para essa luta que há de continuar.
What exactly does Biosfera do to protect the birds? How effective is this work when it comes to addressing current threats? In the next 2 episodes, I'm taking you on a journey to this deserted place to find the answers.
Okay, so you can see our Darwin 200 leaders are doing incredible work. If you do want to see more of these videos, if you go to YouTube and search Darwin 200, you can find the YouTube page, and that's where we're uploading all of the Darwin 200 videos from Tenerife, from Cape Verde, and of course these new ones from Fernando will be coming up shortly. Now they are doing 3 videos that they have to produce. What we saw was an example of the first video, kind of looking at the issue, the conservation issue that they are working on for the week. The second video kind of explores some of the conservation that's currently happening in the area, some of the projects. And then the third video is what more can be done, what can be done in the future to help with these species, whether it be sharks or endemic plants or sea turtles or the like. So do head over to the YouTube page and do check out some of those videos from our Darwin 200 leaders. There are more and more being uploaded every single day from every location that the Oosterschelde does visit along this epic journey. So we are now going to dive into a little bit of sea turtle action. We're going to go live. Thanks to the power of our satellite unit, we are going to head to Fernando de Noronha, and we're going to connect with Nina from Project Tamar, and we are going to learn all about sea turtles. So let's bring her in live with us right now. Hi, Nina. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you guys?
We are great. Nina, it's so great to have you with us. We have classrooms saying hi to you right now from Canada, from the US, from Brazil, from the Netherlands, from Turkey, from the UK. So we have a lot of students hanging out with us today.
Yeah, we're back.
Hello.
All right, Nina, I was just saying we have classrooms from all over the world with us today. We're excited to spend a little time with you.
Yes. We're over here in Fernando de Noronha. It's a really abundant island and sea life. And we're here in the Turtle Museum in Fernando de Noronha. I work in a conservation project called Project Tamar. Tamar takes care of 5 species of the sea turtles that are in Brazil. The world has 7 species of sea turtles. Brazil has 5 of the species nesting everywhere, and we take care of 1,100 kilometers of nesting beaches, making sure that the females and the baby turtles are protected and well conserved. Today we're here in Fernando de Noronha, and we're going to talk a little bit about the sea turtles, some curiosities, and how our work is. So I'm going to start by calling you guys to go see a little bit about each turtle shell. And we're going to go inside the museum and take a look at each of these turtles. Let's go. So here we have some of the shells of the turtles that nest in Brazil. I will start with the green turtle because here in Fernando de Noronha, the only species that nest is the green turtle. The green turtle actually is very interesting. It's very important for the ecosystem because it actually feeds on seagrass. And when it feeds on the seagrass, it makes it grow again. So it's like an ocean gardener. The green turtles are actually called green turtles in Brazil. When we started working with turtles in all Brazilian coastline, they used to eat sea turtles. And the green turtle was one of the favorite ones because it's very fatty, and the fat of the turtle is actually green. So the name green turtle comes from the fat. Its scientific name is Chelonia midas. So green turtle is just a name, and the scientific name is Chelonia midas. Green turtles are very abundant here in Fernando de Noronha. They nest in all the areas. Some are protected areas and just for them at night, and other areas are together with people. And Tamar works alongside with people because we believe that society is very important to take care of these animals. So Brazil takes care of the turtles together with the mar, and this is awesome for conservation. We need people and conservationists, politics, everything working together so that we can save these animals and take care of the planet for the next generation. The other turtles we have here is a loggerhead. The loggerhead turtle is actually more abundant in Bahia. Actually, in Northeast Brazil too. Loggerheads have a very big head. So you know them from the species because they're the species that have the bigger heads. And why do they have these big heads? The loggerheads have
Okay, so we are using a satellite connection today, so we may have these little pauses once in a while. So we'll just give it a second here to see if the satellite sorts itself out for us. This happened a couple times during our test, so hopefully it's usually pretty quick. We'll get the connection back. We'll continue with our tour and our talk about the sea turtles. We've got our experiment coming up. We've got a little video clip to share. And then, of course, we have to look at our results from our pitfall trap experiment, which we'll be looking at shortly. So let's give it just a moment here to see if Stu and Nina can get things resolved. Hopefully, it'll come back quickly. This one's been a little bit longer than the normal pause. We did just lose them, which is usually a good sign. It means that they're just kind of loading back up for us. So we should have them back in here with us very shortly. And I should make a big shout out to the Canadian College joining us in Italy. We have students there joining us. And I didn't give them a shout out at the beginning. It looks like our connection is back. Stu and Nina, I think we have you back.
Yes, we're in an island, so the connection is not that great. We were going to go inside the museum to show what the other species, but we think it's better for me to stay here so that we don't lose connection. And I'm going to talk about the other turtles. We have also the olive ridley nests in Brazil. Olive ridleys are very tiny sea turtles, and they're very abundant in also Northeast in a place called Sergipe. Olive ridleys love to eat shrimps, and they have a problem because the fishery actually is fishing in the place that they are eating. So olive ridleys get a lot of problem from the shrimp fishery, and we have to work alongside the fishing communities to teach. And they find sea turtles. Sea turtles actually can be, we can save the sea turtle from drowning. We just turn the sea turtle like we do with a human, and we do a massage. The turtle puts the water out, and we can save the sea turtle. So we have taught the fishermen how to do when the turtles get accidentally caught in the net. But the olive ridley actually does have this problem, and we are working on it. So the olive ridley populations are going up. Actually, in Brazil, it's very nice to know that out of the 5 species that we have been working for the last 40 years, 4 of them, the populations are going up. So we have many baby sea turtles being born in all the places of Brazil that we are taking care, and we are multiplying the species, which is great for conservation, not only for Brazil and for the world, because turtles are migratory and they can go from one place to another swimming very fast. So like, for example, a turtle can leave Ceará in Brazil, and it can go to Senegal in Africa in 110 days. So the turtle's a good swimmer. It uses the currents on its favor, and they go all around the world. We know that because we actually have a lot of monitoring with satellites. So we put this little satellites in the turtle shell, and through the satellite, we see where the turtle eats, where the turtle feeds, where she swims, where she relaxes. And also, we do have a turtle tag that it works like an ID. So when we tag a turtle and we're doing the research, we put a number on it that gives the number of the turtle and also our postcard, so they know our address. So if somebody catches a turtle that we have researched in another place in the world, and they're researching a female, and they see that turtle is from Brazil, they get in contact with us, and we get to know our turtles and where they go in the world through the turtle ID that we put on it. I'm going to talk a little bit about the turtles' threats, right? The turtles have 5 main threats, not only in Brazil, but in the world. So the turtles have threats that are regional, national, and international. Mainly, they are the main threats, and that's why internationally, we try to target the more important threats so that we come with solutions, and little by little, we try to organize our planet so that the ocean is a little bit more. Excuse me, my English is my second language, you guys. Sometimes I forget the word, but the ocean definitely. So we need to think of nature as a part of it, and we need to take care of for all this.
Okay, so we'll take a little pause here while we wait for the reconnection. There we go.
Hey guys, can you hear us?
Yeah, we lost you for just a second there.
Okay.
Are we back? So we're talking about the main threats, and we're talking about bycatch right now. So the turtle's main threat in the world is bycatch. When they are fishing other animals, turtles get caught, get trapped, they drown, and that happens daily, not only in Brazil, but in all the world. The second threat here in Brazil is actually photo pollution. What is photo pollution? When you have animals nesting in places that humans are, humans need lights. Turtles don't need lights. The only light that the turtle needs is when the turtle is born, it is drawn by the stars. It looks at the ocean, and the ocean has lights. The stars have lights. So as soon as the baby turtle is born, she looks at the natural light for instinct, and she wants to go to that light because that's where she feels safe. That's where she's made to go. When we put artificial lights in a nesting area, the baby turtle confuses that artificial light with the stars and the ocean, and it goes the wrong way. So turtles have a big problem with photo pollution, and that is something that we try to work, and we try to work alongside with the government, with hotels, with condos. So in the place that the turtles are being born, we try to make it as dark as possible so we can multiply the baby turtles. Another big problem, not only with the sea turtles, but in the world, is plastic. We know that the plastics have 8 tons of plastic in the world. We overuse plastic. We haven't figured out a more sustainable way to live correctly. And the ocean is a big victim of our lack of organization to live and start and saying no to plastic. So plastic is actually confused with food for a sea turtle, because a sea turtle eats algae. Sometimes the plastic look like the algae. She'll confuse it's for food and she'll eat it. A turtle, like a loggerhead, big loggerhead, loves to eat jellyfish. Well, she sees a plastic bag that looks just like a jellyfish. What happens? She eats it. And how do we know that the turtles are eating plastic? Because we take care of turtles and we receive turtles for rehab all along Brazil. And every turtle that we have received for rehab has plastic in their stomach. And we have all that together. So we have a lot of plastic inside our museums that has come from the stomach of the turtles. Another concern in Brazil is cars in nesting areas. We have nesting areas that unfortunately people still like to go to the beach and go with their cars really close to the water, and there might be nests there. If there's nests in the beach and it's a place that Tamar is taking care of the beach, no cars are allowed. A car can go through the nest and just kill hundreds, thousands of baby turtles in one little entertaining ride. So these are the turtles' main threats. Here we're gonna talk a little bit about the work that we do in Noronha. In Noronha, like I said, we have been for the last 40 years, and we started marine conservation in this island. When we came to the island, they used to eat sea turtles. They were not involved with any type of conservation, and they used to fish with bombs. So today we're in a protected area, but 40 years ago, people were coming to Noronha and throwing bombs in the ocean, fishing with bombs, eating all the animals that were around. And I'm so glad that I'm not part of that generation, and we are already changing that story. But we've been working on the beaches that the turtles nest in the Noronha and making sure that the females and babies are protected. For the last 40 years, we have people going to the beach every day in the morning. So the whole year we have people taking care of all the beaches in Noronha where the turtles nest. And at night, we go to research them as well. We also have a job in Noronha called the scientific capture. This is the only place in Brazil we do the scientific capture. It is really interesting because we have such an amazing life going on in the water here, and so many turtles that once a week we take a sea turtle out of the water, And we do it, the biometrics, we see how much it's weighing, we take some DNA sample, and we put the tag on it to know that we are researching that turtle. And more about the species, because sea turtles have been in the world for like 150 millions of years. This is something that we're just getting to know, and we do have a lot of research on turtles, but the more research, the more we know about it, the best it is for the conservation of the species. Here, we talk a little about our foundations. We have stores, and the stores in our products are made from the families of the fishermen that once were the people that ate the turtles. Today, we have a foundation built with these people, and local communities are the success of our foundation. Without local communities, without the help of fishermen, without the help of traditional culture and the people that were in the communities before we were there, we weren't be able to do what we do. So we mix science with fishermen, with culture, and with love, of course. And we're getting to the number of 50 million sea turtles given back to the sea. So we are doing our job, and it's great because we need Brazil and the people to help us with the job. So it's a job done by society and Project Tamar. Let's talk about sea turtle a little bit more. We're almost done. So I wanted to show you guys, this is really cool. We have an artist that does the sea turtle exactly how it is. And this is a big green turtle. This is the turtle that nests in Brazil. It is a very big turtle, strong. Yes. Green turtles also are very, very abundant feeding in areas like the ports. And yesterday we had the chance to go to the ports and get a sea turtle. I think you guys are going to see the movie in a second. We did have a juvenile turtle. And this is one of my favorite species. And this species is actually the most threatened species of sea turtle. It is a loggerhead. A loggerhead is huge. Yes, it is. The loggerhead can reach up to 1 ton. It is a huge sea turtle. It can go 1,200 meters down. It's the turtle that goes down deep in the ocean to catch whatever it wants to eat. But the food that it likes the most, like I told you before, is the jellyfish. So the loggerheads have interaction with plastic a lot because since they love jellyfish, they eat up the plastic that accidentally gets to the ocean. And loggerheads are actually different than all the other turtles because the turtles have really hard shells and the loggerhead doesn't. The loggerhead has a soft shell and it actually helps it diving all the way deep in the ocean. Loggerheads nest in Espírito Santo in Brazil, and they are very critically endangered species. This is a cabeçuda, the loggerhead. Like I said, that's a leatherback, and this is a loggerhead. So the loggerhead, right? Careta careta, scientific name, is the turtle that we have in Bahia. And it's the turtle that I was telling you guys that has the big head because it crunches lobsters, shellfish, everything. It crunches. So it has a very strong jaw. This is the hawksbill. So the hawksbill also has a very strong beak, and its name is actually because its beak looks like a hawk. So the hawksbill also like to eat shell food, but they actually like sponge and corals. And they're very important because when they eat the sponge and they eat the corals, they make it multiply. So every sea turtle has a very important role in the ecosystem because what they eat actually gives other fish food. And something that I didn't tell you about is that every 1,000 little baby sea turtles that are born, only one survives. And do you know why? Because the sea turtles are responsible for abundance of marine life. So when the sea turtles are born, octopus eat them, barracudas eat them, baby sharks eat them, crabs eat them, seabirds eat them. So the turtles actually are like not only big and adults and responsible as adults for the nature, but when they're tiny, they also have a very important role. Here in Noronha, we get to see the turtles in all their stages of life. So baby turtles being born, mama turtles that come and nest and they go and they come. And we also have adults coming in and out, and we have juvenile turtles feeding and relaxing in these warm waters. So it's a very interesting place because you see there's 3 cycles of life of the sea turtles right here in very close environments. And this is, like I said, the tiniest of them all, the olive ridley. The olive ridley loves shrimps. She normally can get up to 50 kilos, so she's really tiny, you know. And her name is olive ridley because her shell has this very intense coloration and it doesn't change. Every time we see an olive ridley, she has the same color of shell, very characteristic. And something in Brazil that we play about the olive ridley is that the olive ridley represents our culture. Why? When the olive ridley puts her nest, she is so tiny that she has to wiggle a lot. And we say that the olive ridley actually samba. So when she puts her nest, she does that wiggle, wiggle, wiggle that Brazil considers to be a turtle that samba. We're about to end the class, and I wanted to show you guys something really interesting, and it's compare my size to the size of the turtle. So I'll call you to see this. And these are actually the size of the turtles that we talked about. This is the leatherback. So look, I'm not that short. Look at the size of a leatherback. Huge, right? Yes. This is green turtle, the island turtle. Quite about my size. So I think I'm a green turtle. This is the loggerhead. See, the loggerhead is a little bit smaller. This is the average size of the hawksbill turtle. See? And this is our samba olive ridley, the samba turtle. Well, I'm actually done with the turtle talk. If you guys have any questions, if you guys want to hear more about the turtles, I'll be happy to meet you guys in another time. I'm going to change the phone with my colleague because he has an experiment to do, I believe.
Nina, I just want to catch you for a second before we switch the phone.
Yes.
We have the video of the scientific capture you guys did yesterday. So I want to play that little clip. And if you can just tell us a little bit about what we're seeing. It's a short clip. It's only about a minute long. So let me get that ready here and I'll put it up right now.
Yes. So yesterday we did a scientific capture in the port and we took turtle, Chelonia medas, out of the water and we took samples of DNA. The sample of DNA goes to our research bank. And daily, all the research that we do in all Brazil, we are present in 9 states of Brazil, goes to a data bank where we get to know a little bit more about the species. Yesterday, we had a little juvenile green turtle, really small turtle, but still very healthy. And we made sure to collect the DNA. And through the DNA, we get to know a lot of stuff about the sea turtles, even its feeding habits. And also we measure it. And then we tag it and then we take it back to the sea. In the last years, we've been doing that. And Noronha has a great opportunity because not everywhere the sea turtles are so calm. And in Noronha, they have learned to interact with the people because we actually have great conservation laws. And the interaction is very natural and we get to study the sea turtles and talk about sea turtles. Everything happens very calmly, and for the last years we've had done it with more than 10,000 turtles.
All right, that's amazing, Nina. Such a great video clip as well. Before we pass things on to Stu, Nina, let's see if we have a couple questions and then we'll do the experiment with Stu.
Okay.
All right, so I do see one online. I'm going to visit the Canadian College in Italy shortly to see if they have a couple for us live. But William would like to know, Are there any threats to turtles from poachers? Do people look for their eggs on the island or other parts of Brazil?
No, in Brazil, when we started working with the sea turtles, we had a lot of problem with poaching. All in Brazilian coastline, people not only ate the females, but they also preyed in the eggs. But today we don't have any problem. We have taught society. We have become parts of example, and everybody actually takes care of the sea turtle. If somebody gets the sea turtles in an aggressive way, society will be there and say, "No, you're not supposed to do that." So we created a different culture, and that has changed in Brazil. But I know that other places in the world, we do still have some poaching going on.
All right. I want to bring in the Canadian College joining us from Italy. I think they're grade 9 students. If you have a couple sea turtle questions for Nina, why don't you unmute your microphone and we can get a couple questions before our experiment.
Hi there. We do have one question from a student asking, are any of the sea turtles that you have in Brazil endangered species or extirpated or classified in any way?
Yeah, all of the 5 species we have in Brazil are endangered. The green turtle is now getting out of the list of endangered species. But yes, the 5 species are still considered endangered, and the green is going on the way of non-endangered. But there's a good thing because the populations are going up and up and up. So all the population are stabilizing. The population that's the one that's going up the slowest is the leatherback.
All right, Nina, thank you so much for such an amazing presentation. You are doing incredible work. I'm sure there's a whole team behind you as well. It's great to hear that the whole community is buying into the conservation work and it's being successful.
Yes, that's what's great, right? We need to educate ourselves. We don't need everybody telling us you can't do that. We need to know what we can and what we cannot do. And I really believe in this next generation that it will come with all this conscience and all this education, and we will change the world. I really believe in the change of world. We are making it happen right now because the future is right now.
All right, amazing, Nina. Thank you so much. I hear a rumor it's time for an experiment with Stu.
Yes,
So let's join and continue the turtle action with Stu.
He's
Hey,
gonna
Stu.
take us to the experiment.
Hey, gang. I think we've set up in a little studio there. I don't know how well I'm coming through on the screen, but it's no secret that I'm not dealing well with all this sun. I've been wearing caps and sun cream, but I'm a pasty guy and it's costing me. So we're going to sit in the shade for a sec.
All right, we'll switch over to the laptop. Are you going to switch to the laptop, Stu?
Yeah, I think we will. We'll give it a try. Let me just, I'll come off this.
Yep. Okay, so we do have Stu. Yeah, there we go.
Might need to...
Stu is joining us. He is from the National Marine Aquarium in Plymouth.
Okay, let me just double check. We've just signed off. We've just signed off with the phone there. And you've got us, you can see me and hear me, Joe?
We got you, Stu. Yeah, it's nice to see you outside of the aquarium in Plymouth and enjoying Fernando.
Yeah, right. It's been a heck of a journey. Myself and Lottie from the aquarium came out to join the expedition for a couple of weeks, find out what's going on and be part of it all. We've been here just for a few days now. But we've seen all of the work that Nina and Project Tamar are doing. We've got the Darwin leaders on there, 5 different projects now. So I don't know if you mentioned this already, Joe, but the 5 different topics that are happening here. We've got one about sharks and rays. We've got one about corals, one about octopus, one about endangered species, or invasive species, I should say, and one about dolphins. All of these things are here in Fernando. It's such an amazing island. But we're in Project Tamar. Here in Project Tamar, it's all about turtles. So we've put together a little experiment for people to do back at home. Now, this is one that some of you might have seen or heard before. We're putting a bit of a spin on Uh-oh. We're still there. We're there. Good.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I think we lost you just for a sec, but we're back. So one of the first things that we did when we came here to Fernando was have a look around the coastline, and we saw dolphins jumping out of the water. Right up near the beach, we could see turtles poking their heads up out of the waves to take a breath of air, because of course they're reptiles. They've got lungs and they need to breathe. So we could see all these amazing animals. But then our friends took us around to one of the other portions of the island, and we found, just like we find in England, this kind of thing. We found plastics, marine plastics. And, you know, they took us through and they explained that these things, they wash up, they travel all across the world. They travel on the oceans from all sorts of countries. They come in Fernando, they come from Africa, they come from Asia. They actually come from the UK as well, which is a little bit sad to think what some of us are doing in the UK, dropping our litter, is ending up here and affecting those turtles. So we thought what we'd try and do is incorporate a bit of that litter into our next activity, our next experiment. If you live near a beach, wherever you're watching this show, you could do this. You could go and collect a little bit of beach rubbish like this, bits of plastic that really shouldn't be there. If you don't live near a beach, of course, lots of this plastic doesn't originally get dropped in the ocean. It gets dropped in the mainland, in the middle of the islands or the land or the country. The wind and the rivers can take it to the sea. So just because you don't live by the sea doesn't mean that picking up bits of plastic in your neighborhood isn't helpful for the animals that live in the ocean. Anyway, what we did is we took these bits of plastic, and very kindly the crew on the Oosterschelde gave me some little bits of metal as well. I've got some I don't know what you call these, bits of cans. You probably recognize them, you guys. Got some other little bits of metal, some clips and different things here, a little bit of wire, and of course, a single-use drinks bottle. Now, we know we've got a bit of a problem with these, don't we? We know that a single-use plastic is not a good plastic. Hopefully, everyone watching the
All right, we got a little pause in our experiment. Hopefully we'll get Stu back shortly. And right after Stu finishes his experiment, we're going to have a little Kahoot quiz together. So be ready for the sea turtle Kahoot quiz. As per usual, the class room that finishes in first can email us for their $50 Amazon gift voucher. We will do that Kahoot together right after Stu's experiment. And then we will wrap up today with our curiosity of the week. We'll get our answer to last week's curiosity, and then we will take a look at this week's curiosity. Stu just disappeared from backstage, which means they are just trying to reload. So we should have him back with us shortly. When the experiment concludes, we will have our Kahoot, and then we will get into our curiosity of the week. Here we go. I think I see Stu's back with us. Hey, Stu.
Hello, Joe. Sorry about this. I don't know whether you've explained, you guys, whether you've heard. We're actually using, you have told people about this, Joe. We're using this satellite technology. Not everywhere has the strongest internet signal. You might be lucky. You might be somewhere with really strong internet signal. We aren't in a place that's got strong internet. So we're using this device, and it's brilliant, but it's even this device is struggling every once in a while. So we were saying, we've got all of this plastic, we've got this metal, we've collected it up. You're going to do the same wherever you live, near the beach, by a river, in the park, just in the street. If you live in a big town, a big city, you can still help the ocean by collecting up these things before they end in the ocean. Anyway, I've just taken my pen here and I've drawn, don't judge me for the drawing, folks, that's not what I'm here for. I've drawn a tiny little turtle on this piece of plastic. This turtle right here, this is going to represent my leatherback turtle. Now, you'll remember the leatherback turtle is the biggest turtle in the world. They can grow to weigh a ton. This little guy definitely doesn't weigh a ton. He's a tiny little baby. but I've chosen him to be a leatherback turtle because if you remember, they're the ones, the leatherbacks are the turtles that can dive to over 1,000 meters down in the bottom of the ocean. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't get anywhere near 1,000 meters. The other day, I managed just under 10. So that's about 1% of the ability to dive of a leatherback turtle. So I got to say, that is an amazing animal over there. And they're really lucky that they exist here in Fernando, because this is a great place to be. Anyway, this is my leatherback turtle, this little guy here. I've taken a bottle and I've filled it with water. What I've done inside that bottle is I've assembled some of my plastics and some bits of metal too. I'll show you what I've made. I'm just taking it out now. I filled the bottle up with water, so that's going to represent my ocean. This is my ocean. So right here, we're going to say this is the surface where turtles come up to breathe. And then down here is 1,000 meters. If you want, if you've got a bottle back home or something you can use for this experiment, you can use a marker like I'm going to do here, and you can put lines on. You could do a little bit of research and you could draw a line up here and say, okay, that's as deep as an olive ridley turtle can go. And then this line right here, this is as deep as a green turtle can go. And you can do the research and you can mark that up and do a little scale on your bottle. When you've done that, you need to prepare something that looks like this. This is another one of my little turtles. This was my first practice one, so he's not quite as good, but it's a developing art. If I turn it around, you'll see what I've got here actually is the top half of a pipette. You might be familiar with these from school or your science lessons back in the day, if it's been a while since you've been at school. A pipette, by scientists use, they squeeze the end there, put it in the water, and it normally has a long end on it like this. And then this sucks up water and liquid. It's really good for doing plankton sampling. So if anyone out there wants to do a little bit of plankton sampling, I'm sure we're going to be doing that in the classroom soon. It's a really useful tool. I've used a pipette. You could use a pen lid. If you haven't got a pipette at home, anything that you can put in the water and trap air in. So it's open at the bottom here and it's sealed up at the top. So if I put this in this way, if I put it in the water opening first, the air is going to get trapped in here. I've got to do this carefully because if I put it in this way round with the opening at the top and I put it under the water, all of the air is going to escape. So I want to trap the air in by putting it this way. The metal that I've included on it, that's to help weigh it down because all of that air inside my pipette is going to make it buoyant. It's going to make it want to float. But I don't want it to float off. I want it to stay in the water. And crucially, I want it to stay this way round. I want the opening to be at the bottom because that's going to stop the air escaping when I put it into the water. So, carefully, being careful not to spill water on my laptop, I'm going to open this up. I'm going to take my lid off, remembering which way up I'm putting my little improvised loggerhead turtle. Here he is. I've got my opening at the bottom. I'm going to put it into the water. Now, I'm going to seal the lid up. You might have noticed that I've filled the water to the highest level I possibly can. I don't want any air in there if I can help it. You can see it's a little difficult, but you can just about see in here my little loggerhead turtle. There he is. He's at the surface at the moment, breathing. Remember, reptiles, turtles are reptiles. They have lungs just like us. When they're underwater, they're holding their breath. They're not like fish. They don't have gills. They're holding their breath all the time. So it's important our turtle can get to the top. What we're going to do now, though, is a little bit of physics. This bottle, I chose it carefully. It's quite firm, but it's soft enough for me to be able to squeeze it and compress it. The funny thing there is if this bottle was empty, I could squeeze it really easily. Because it's got water in, it's really hard to squash it. One of the amazing physics properties of water is that it doesn't compress when you squeeze it. Air, on the other hand, does. That's how scuba divers can take so much air in that tiny little tank on their back. One tank for a scuba diver has got enough air, as long as they're near the surface, for them to breathe for 2 hours in that tank. 2 hours of breath. Your lungs, if you want to join me now and take a great big breath, you can fill your lungs up with air and out. And you can do that again with me. And out. We can fill our lungs up with air. But when things go down, when a turtle dives down, the air in its lungs gets squashed like in a scuba cylinder. And it shrinks. So what we're going to do is we're going to use that physical property of gas. Gases under pressure can condense and become smaller. And we're going to squeeze the air inside our little made-up turtle. And we're going to squeeze the air so that it's so small, the airspace goes so small, it's no longer able to lift the turtle near the top. Because that's what's keeping the turtle near the top here. It's all that air trapped inside. So if I give this a squeeze, let me see if I can show you this. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Oh, the turtle has gone all the way to the bottom. Don't know how well you guys can see it, but just... Oh, I've got to get my finger right. It's reversing. Just here, can you see? The air is getting smaller. And if I relax the grip, oh, too much, it gets bigger. So the air compresses underwater. If I let go a bit, my turtle, oh, goes back up to the top because the air expands. And I can play with this. The more I squeeze, the lower the turtle goes. So if you've done your markings on the bottle correctly and your research, you should be able to map out where the turtle can get to, maybe add other turtles. Heck, if you're doing this from home, or if you've got a lot of litter lying around that you can make turtles from, you could make lots of them in the same bottle. Experiment with different volumes of air, different weights of metal, and see if you can get it so that when you squeeze your bottle, you get a leatherback turtle that goes to the bottom, like this guy, and then maybe one of the smaller turtles that only gets to here. All of these things, these are all variations that you can do. And if I've understood things correctly, Joe, the challenge now is for these guys to go away and think about this and maybe do something themselves. And there's a way that they can share that with you. Is that right?
Absolutely, Stu. So we are going to share the video of this experiment on the website, so DARWIN200.com. You'll also be able to find it on our YouTube page. And then you have 2 weeks now to try the experiment on your own. Send some photos to us. You could always choose to post some online using the hashtag Darwin200 or tag at Darwin200 on social media. And we'll include a question or two as well. And your challenge will be to answer those questions and send those answers into classroom@darwin200.com. And they'll have 2 weeks to get those answers into us. And the top 3 will get a £50 gift card from Amazon.
Awesome. Joe, am I allowed to submit mine or is that cheating?
Oh, I don't know, Stu. We'll have to talk to the other Stu and see if he'll let it slide.
Okay. It sounds like it's worth entering anyway. That's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Stu, that was such a great experiment and fit in so beautifully with our sea turtle action today.
Fabulous. Glad to help. I think, well, that's my little bit. I'm not sure, what you guys need to do if you've got other things happening. Yeah. There's something going on over here which I'll go to when we're done, but I don't know whether people have got questions or I'll let you do your thing, Joe.
That was perfect, Stu. We're going to let you go. We're going to do a little Kahoot now with the classrooms, a little sea turtle Kahoot for another chance at a gift card.
Oh, it just keeps coming. Lovely. Yeah. Thanks, Joe.
All right. Thanks so much, Stu, and say hi to Nina. That was amazing.
Will do. See you later. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. All right. As I mentioned, it is now time for our sea turtle Kahoot before we jump into our curiosity. So I am going to share my screen and load up the Kahoot. Now, the top classroom today, it's really important, student or classroom, that you send a message to us. And I'm going to share that email with you at the end. And then we will make sure that we get you sent your $50 gift voucher. So today's Kahoot is all about sea turtles. And some of those answers would have come from today and what we learned with Stu and Nina. So here we go. The website is kahoot.it, and it's going to ask you for a PIN number. Well, we've got a PIN number right here for you. Today's PIN number is 2394264. Now, there's many ways you could join. If you're in a classroom and you have like a Chromebook or a tablet at your desk, you can join there. If you're at home and you have your mobile device or a tablet, you can scan that QR code and it'll bring you into your spot. And then from there, we're going to have our questions. Now, if you have to, you can pop it up at the front of the classroom and your students could shout out the answers to you, the teacher. Or if you don't have the ability to connect, you can just play together and see who comes out on top. Your students can just write down their answers maybe quickly if they want to. So we'll give it another couple more seconds here to get a few more classrooms into place. We are going to have 5 questions. There's multiple choice today. There might be one true and false in there, but most of them today are multiple choice. And again, they're all related to what we learned about today. So we should be able to answer those questions together. I'm going to give it about another 10 seconds, and then we'll get into our live event together. We'll do our Kahoot, and then we're going to go into our curiosity, and then we will be signing off for today's event. Okay, let's get into this Kahoot action. We're going to count us in here with 3 seconds on the clock, and then our first question will come up. The quicker you get your answer in, the more points you're going to get if it's right. So, how many sea turtle species are there around the world? We're talking about the whole world here. Is it 3? Is it 5? Is it 7? Or is it 10? How many species of sea turtles can be found globally, worldwide? 3, 5, 7, or 10? All right, it is 7. Good job, crew. Let's see what happened there. The eager bat is in first place, and we're going to jump to our next question here. Now, we talked about turtles that nest in Fernando de Noronha. Is it 1 species, 3 species, 5 species, or all 7 species of sea turtles? How many species of sea turtle actually nest on the island? All right, it is 1. It is that green sea turtle. And then the hawksbill feeds around the island, but the green sea turtle is the only one that actually nests, which means... Oh, the eager bat is holding down that top spot. So let's go to our next question. What's the largest species of sea turtle? We saw a great visual demonstration. Is it the hawksbill? Is it the leatherback, the olive ridley, or the green sea turtle? Which one, the hawksbill, the leatherback, olive ridley, or green, can grow to be up to a ton? It is the leatherback. Good job. Some movement, but the eager bat is not going to let go of that spot. We got a true and false. Sea turtles can retract or pull their head and flippers into their shell, like turtles on land do. Is that true or is that false? Can sea turtles pull themselves right into their shell like their relatives on land? Ooh, a bit of a split, but it is false. They cannot do that. They don't have that protection like the sea turtles on land, which is why sometimes you see sea turtles missing flippers, maybe nipped off by a shark or something like that. All right, we have one more question to settle things. It is a multi-select. So you have to pick as many of these as you think are right. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Click all the threats sea turtles are facing. Bycatch, cars on beaches, plastic pollution, light pollution. Is it 1 of those, 2 of those, 3 of them, or are you going to click all 4 of them? This is a little bit different question than we've done before. You have to decide how many you want to click to be your final answer. 1, 2, 3, or all 4 as threats facing turtles. Bycatch, cars on beaches, plastic pollution, or light pollution. All right, I can see a lot of students selected all 4, and that's absolutely right. Bycatch, cars, plastic, and light pollution are all things impacting our sea turtles. So our podium in third place, the eager bat. Ooh, that means we have a new leader. In second place, Agent Octopus. And finally, holding down that top spot, we have the Great Raccoon. All right, I'm going to come back from that screen share now, and I will share that email address. If your class is the Great Raccoon, ebtsoyp@gmail.com is where you want to send your message, and we will send that gift card your way. So ebtsoyp@gmail.com is the way to find us, and we'll make sure we get that your way. And of course, we'll have another Kahoot in our next World's Most Exciting Classroom event. Now, 2 weeks ago, we had an experiment where we built pitfall traps to try and catch invertebrates, insects in the forest or in your backyard or the park, wherever you decided to set them up. And let's take a look at Stu's results, and then we'll see our 3 winners from our experiment from 2 weeks ago with the pitfall traps.
Welcome back. I'm really happy to say that the pitfall traps worked really well, and we've got a range of animals that I can't wait to show you. Well, let's see what they caught. Starting with the control traps, which didn't have any bait in, unsurprisingly, they haven't really caught much. This one here has only 2 little woodlice in, and I suppose that might be explained by the fact that woodlice often forage and look for different leaf litter and roam around during the night, so maybe they just fell in by accident. This white container here has a centipede, which I was not expecting at all. Centipedes wouldn't be attracted to any of the bait that we put here, neither the bananas nor the biscuits, because they're carnivores. So presumably this little guy fell into the trap while he was looking for victims to eat. But yeah, now he became trapped himself. The glass beaker with a piece of biscuit caught this very adventurous snail that's trying to escape, and about 20 woodlice that were obviously attracted to the biscuit inside. Woodlice have very acute senses, so that partly explains why they'd be attracted to this beaker and fall inside. I'm not entirely sure why the snail went in. Maybe he fell in by accident, a bit like the centipede before. This white plastic pot that also contains a piece of biscuit also trapped lots of little woodlice, but it also has a small earthworm. This is another animal I wasn't really expecting to be trapped by these pitfall traps, but it did rain a little bit last night, so maybe the earthworm came to the surface and was exploring and also just happened to fall in. The last 2 pitfall traps contain pieces of banana peel, and it looks like this was even more popular than the pieces of biscuit. These traps are absolutely full of woodlice. This one has easily 30, 40 little woodlice scurrying around, and the glass beaker has a similar number too. So they obviously really like banana. That's something I didn't know. Once you've had a good look at your creatures, don't forget to put them back where you found them. This snail here is trying to escape, so I think he definitely wants to go home. So it's probably time we put all these amazing little invertebrates back into their natural habitats. During the last 2 weeks, did you upload or send in any photographs of the creatures that you found in your pitfall traps? Let's take a look and see if there's any differences between locations or countries.
All right, so shout out to Stu for sending us the results from his pitfall traps. And then we also have our results here that we can share now. So we had a lot of students sending them in. We had Jose from Madrid in Spain, who caught a cockroach in his pitfall trap. We also had Lucy from Birmingham, England, who caught 3 spiders and an earwig in her pitfall trap. And finally, we had Mike from Wales, who caught a centipede. So all 3 of those students, we will be sending you your $50 Amazon gift voucher. So huge congratulations to all 3 of those students. Remember, you have 2 weeks to get your results for the current experiment. And then you have 1 week to get your results in from our previous experiment. So you can find those experiments if you go to the YouTube channel for Darwin200. We're also putting them up on the website. So 2 weeks to get in your results for Stu from the National Marine Aquarium's amazing experiment, buoyancy with those sea turtles. Now, before we wrap up today, we need to take a little look at our curiosity of the week. So let's do that before we sign off. Here we go. Let's look at the answers from last week's curiosity, which were some pretty cool looking eggs. Let's see what they actually were.
Back. Could you work out the identity of last week's curiosities? Could you decide what these strange objects might be? Well, believe it or not, they're eggs. This one is the egg from an emu, a type of bird from Australia, whereas this one is the egg from an ostrich from Africa. Ostriches produce the largest eggs of all birds alive today. Just imagine how big the omelette would be from an egg this size. Well, let's find out now who the winners were from this week's Curiosity.
All right, let us find out who sent in some answers for us. We had a lot of correct answers, but we do want to give a special shout out today to Louis Chung. So Louis identified them as an ostrich and an emu egg, and Louis has been emailing every single week with guesses for the Curiosity of the Week. So Louis, keep those amazing answers coming in. And to all the students who are joining in, keep your answers coming in for the Curiosity of the Week. You will be sending those answers in. You can send them to classroom at DARWIN200.com. Info at DARWIN200.com works as well. And we're talking about a new curiosity. So let's take a look at today's video and see what our next curiosity is for our students to think about this week.
This curiosity is a pretty tricky question. Can you guess what this strange object here is? It has these two long claw-like spines at the front. And I'll give you a clue. It contains something very important for the survival of this organism. Tune in next week to find out what this is.
All right, there we go. Challenge is issued. The Curiosity of the Week is there. We will share that video again online. If you go to Darwin200 on YouTube, on the website as well, you can find it there, and then get those answers sent in to us, and we will read out some of the students' names who send us in those correct answers. So classroom at Darwin200.com. Okay, we are wrapping up for this week. Next week, we will be live again on October 12th. Again at 2 p.m. UK time, 9 a.m. Eastern. We are going to be sailing. The Oosterschelde will be making its way to the mainland, to Salvador in Brazil. We will have all kinds of things happening, including a live uplink from the ship. We'll have a Darwin leader beam in with us and talk about the work that they were doing on Fernando. And then, of course, we'll have our experiments, our cahoots, our prizes, our Curiosity of the Week, and more. So do join us next week. We will wrap up, as always, with a huge shout out to our sponsors. Without our sponsors and our partners, the Darwin 200 would not be possible. We wouldn't be able to do the world's most exciting classroom every single week. So let's finish off with a shout out to our sponsors.